countries in the region have fishery agreements with various countries which have brought over 1,000 foreign vessels into West African waters to fish massively. The countries, however, seldom have the capacity to mount proper surveillance of the fishing operations of the foreign fleet. The consequence often is that only 10% report their catches, representing a massive loss in revenue to affected countries. In spite of this, the fishery sector accounts for between 10 and 30% of budget revenue of several countries, especially for coastal states with considerably higher production levels. One of these countries is Guinea-Bissau, which has species of high commercial value.
The fisheries sector is really improving, and it gives its contribution to the country's budget in the order of 30%.
We have the tuna fishes, especially in the Nigerian marine water bodies. The tuna fishes is so attractive to other worlds, and even these other, we have freshwater species also that are cherished. We talk about the tilapia that is attracting a lot of foreign markets. People culture it and they export in other countries. So we have a lot of fisheries potentials that are attractive to the foreign fleets.
Most of the high-value species go to the fishing companies, but the pelagic species, which predominantly the bonga, etmalosa, and the sardinella, are destined for local consumption, and also some are smoked for the region, Nigeria, Mali, and so on, Guinea-Conakry. There's a lot of export for this sector, because the companies are, the products from the companies are mostly for the export market. We are lucky that 4 of our fishing companies are certified to export to the European Union. But most of the traditional smoked ones are for the West African region.
Despite this great potential and its capacity to feed national economies, a storm may be brewing over West Africa's fishing sector. There is no better place to find out about this gathering storm and what exactly is happening in the waters of West Africa than among the fishing community. Though the language may differ, the story the fishermen tell these days is much the same. Getting a good catch of fish is proving more difficult.
So now it makes the fish now never okay here. So we travel to Lagos and then to make the fishing, let me say 5 days or 6 days before we arrive here.
Our fishing production has reduced compared to 15 years ago or 20 years ago. Before, we used to catch a lot of fish, but now it has decreased. Nowadays, we don't catch much fish. Before, the fishing used to be done very close to the coast, and we fished very close to Cotonou. But now we have to go far to find fish.
The effort you make in catching an S quantity of fish before is no longer what it is today, because the catch is going down.
A lot of fishing activities there is dying off. Many fishermen have abandoned fishing. Baga Fish Market is the largest smoked fish market in the West African region. But if you go to that market today, you discover that onion has taken over the entire market.
The reason for this is simple but complex. The demand for fish and fish products has increased astronomically, especially since its benefit as the best source of animal protein was confirmed.
The size of the ocean hasn't increased since it was created somehow. But the numbers of people, the population of every country in Africa has gone up. And the people that want to eat fish, including those people that have been catching fish traditionally, their numbers have also increased. So therefore the numbers of boats, the numbers of nets have all increased against the limited sizes that we have in the oceans, but also the limited capacity of the fish. Just like any living organism, it needs to reproduce itself. The fish, they will lay eggs, and the eggs will hatch into baby fish. Those fish must be given time to grow and become big fish, and those fish must also, lay eggs and continue. So if we break that cycle, it means that we are catching more fish than the fish can grow, than the fish can breed itself.
The quest to meet this demand has led to increasing competition for access to fishery resources between foreign and national fleets, as well as artisanal and industrial fishing.
The vessels, fishing vessels, do, let me say, sometimes they do take our net. They do take our net and everything. Sometimes if they take the net, we follow them. Sometimes they do give us light fish, and then we make a to buy our net. Sometimes if we go there, even they never look our face.
The consequence of this competition is the overexploitation of especially the marine sources in West Africa. The World Wildlife Federation says West Africa has lost half of its deep-sea fish stock in the last 2 decades. Restocking does not match the current pace of catches. Some species are reported to be on the brink of extinction. The major culprit is a phenomenon known as illegal, unregulated and unreported fishing, which is going overboard and threatening the region's fishery resources. Trawlers from various countries are illegally entering the waters as they have open access.
Illegal fishing, of course, is supposed to be punishable, because according to the law, catching fish and being unauthorized is illegal.
Yes, we encounter such cases where some boats come to steal our resources, especially on the high seas or in the area of the tuna fish, where there is a stream of cold water. There we meet a lot of illegal boats who fish and steal our resources. Usually we report to the authorities about the presence of these vessels. 3 or 4 years ago, if I recall, around August-September, we had counted about 40 vessels from outside who came to fish for tuna here.
There are other fundamental challenges such as climate change as well as unwholesome fishing practices that cannot be ignored and are impacting negatively on the fishing sector in the region.
Take, for example, the use of fishing nets that have small mesh sizes. With such means of nets, the cropped fish of various sizes, even the under-table sizes, are cropped.
However, the greatest threat is this illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing. The situation has not been helped by inadequate governance on the part of countries in the region. Sometimes fishing agreements are lopsided, and at other times the countries do not have the technology and the resources to properly monitor such agreements. Many ECOWAS member states cannot even police their coastline, and pirate ships exploit this weakness massively.
Anybody can just pick up a boat and a net, go and catch fish. There's no limited access, because, well, everybody think that fish is a resource that is given to them, and anybody can just go there. And so until we address this issue of open access, we are going to continue to have problems.
If you look at the fisheries industry, it's really scattered. By scattered, I mean there are no interlinkages, there's no integration. Every unit or subsector seems to be acting independently. Now, because of that, we're losing a lot. And you know, fisheries is a natural resource. When there's no control and no integration, other people can poach in and take this natural resource. We are incurring a lot of losses because of this incoherence.
A lot of fishing activity goes on in the inland waterways, but most times it is for domestic consumption, and the catch can hardly meet the domestic demand. Even here, there are challenges, though of a different nature.
The fishermen are faced with difficulties on how to acquire the fishing implements. Take, for example, the fishing crabs, the boats, the engine boats, and the fishing nets. Due to poverty that is so rampant within the region, most of them are not able to afford this. Some go to the extent of hiring this implement for utilization, and it's not good enough. It doesn't work better for good performance.
The fishery sector in West Africa is not yet in the doldrums, but it may sink to that level unless there is a visionary intervention. 2 institutions have been working on such interventions to ensure that the fishing sector